Welcome to The Intuitive Therapist with Janis Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense, deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janis will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janis R. Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is Janis Cohen, the Intuitive Therapist, here on the Intuitive Therapist podcast. It is a gorgeous day here in Georgia. We're finally getting the weather that I love. The hotter the better here, because I'm a summer girl. It's about in the mid 70s, upper 70s, gorgeous weather. So, and interesting that I bring that up. Not interesting. I'm always surprised, but always making connections between the different comments that I make and what I want to talk about on my podcast. That how beautiful it is just to be able to look out at this gorgeous weather and experience it for what it is. Because the topic that I wanted to talk about today is about radical acceptance. And I'm going to talk to you about what that is, how you can achieve that, and how really it is the key, the gateway to experiencing healing and spiritual transformation. So I bet if I asked you to think about a situation where you were shocked or disappointed or devastated, you could probably easily figure out at least one experience in your life, or a number of others. Maybe it's just that there's one incident in your life that you can recall that truly just totally overtook you and threw you off balance. Like I said, maybe it's a number of experiences you've had. But no matter, like, really think about a situation where you experienced it and you thought, oh my God, wait, how is this possible? Why is this happening? This can't be happening. No way. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And as you think of those experiences, it's almost like when you think about them, you're kind of walking mindlessly, and all of a sudden, boom, you hit this wall. And this wall is this experience that literally floors you. So suddenly you're faced with the opportunity to deal with something in a way that either allows you to move forward with clarity, or something that totally immobilizes you. Maybe it's the loss of somebody you love. Maybe you get fired from a job. Maybe you lose all your money in the stock market. Maybe you get a divorce, or you find out somebody's been cheating on you. Maybe your car dies. Whatever it is, it really throws you for a loop. You have the opportunity to either be immobilized by it, or to figure out a way how to move forward in spite of it, or even on behalf of it, right? So inevitably, when I talk about this concept of radical acceptance, we, including me and my clients, we have difficulty. It can be difficult sometimes to truly accept what is. I find that the biggest challenge with my clients, at least, when it comes to dealing with difficulties in life, is how they are going to respond to what happens in their lives. And look, it's very easy to get lost in pain and worry or fear, and it can be overwhelming, actually. I know I've been there. Y'all have been there. If you listen to this podcast, you could think of different times in your life where you just felt like, I don't even know what to do with this crazy thing that just happened. But the one thing I know about people is that within each experience, there are choices. I always talk about choices. Always. Choices are about how you react and respond to life. And a lot of times, and I remember talking about this in a previous podcast, it's like, if you in your own thinking can't get yourself out of where you are in a situation, and you're not problem solving so that your problem is resolved, then you have to shift your perspective. You either have to start thinking like somebody who could problem solve, or you literally get your ass up, pick up the phone, go to somebody and say, I need your help. I don't even know what to do with this. So I always emphasize that with my clients. And in all honesty, look, I struggle with it too. There are times where I honest to God, I don't want to accept things. I really don't. I can kind of find some comfort and shock for a little while, and then at some point, it hurts too much to be in that place. So I have to say to myself, okay, Janis, girl, it's really time to look at what this is and accept it for what it is and figure out what you're going to do. So I can do that more easily, at sometimes more easily than others, but I still, like I said, find myself kind of wallowing in some pain. And what I found over time is, since this concept of radical acceptance was introduced to me years ago, I've gotten better at it. And my hope is that after I talk about this today, you will put the practice of radical acceptance. And when I talk about radical acceptance, I'm not talking about radical resignation. They're two very different things. And it's interesting because I'm getting ready to talk about this concept of acceptance. It's when you accept things as they are. For example, wherever you're sitting, look around. Maybe you're driving, but look around and find something to describe. Maybe it's the clothes you're wearing. You have a blue shirt and gray pants on. Maybe a blue shirt and beige pants on. I don't know, whatever your color combination is. But that is what it is. Unless you're colorblind, those are the colors you're wearing. So you either accept that or you deny it and say you're wearing polka dots and stripes. So radical acceptance is really simply about accepting what is. It's not settling for what isn't. Okay? So it's when you don't try to bargain with the truth and you don't wish it were different. It just is. You don't try to change the details. You don't lament or experience sorrow because of the truth. All that comes before the acceptance of truth. Sorrow, sadness, fear, anger, all of that stuff comes before radical acceptance. Because when you radically accept something, there is no emotion with it. It's a decision. And decisions, while guided by emotions, decisions are not made because of emotions. Decisions are factually based things that we do. Our emotions promote or protect our ability to make decisions. Okay? So it's really simply accepting what is on its terms. And you realize that you can't change what just happened. The only thing you can do is figure out how to deal with it and use it for your best interest. And that's what I always say. It's like squeeze out the learnings. Squeeze out the learnings from even the most painful and most annoying experiences in your life. Pain is a teacher, y'all. I have always said that. I've come to believe it. And look, joy can teach us too. But pain is like numero uno teacher. And it doesn't want you to sit or wallow in it. That pain really doesn't. Pain is the invitation to transform, to grow, and to illuminate yourself. So when you say things like, this isn't fair, or I can't believe this just happened, or this shouldn't be this way, it's almost as if we're thinking that if we refuse to accept the truth, that somehow it will keep it from being true. Or we think that accepting means agreeing. That's not at all. It doesn't. When you fight reality, in all honesty, it's so exhausting. Think about a time when you just did not want to believe something was true. You didn't get accepted to a position you applied for. You weren't accepted to college. The loan for your business fell through. You owed more taxes than the money you have in the bank. Whatever it is. Like fighting that? What are you supposed to do with that? So when you refuse to accept that you were, like I said, fired from something, from a job, and especially if you weren't guilty of it, that's very difficult. Very, very difficult. Your partner cheated on you, or that you weren't accepted to the college that you wanted to attend, that, what I was just talking about. It doesn't change the situation, but it can add to the pain you experience if you resist accepting it. And it's very, very difficult accepting reality when it's painful. Nobody wants to experience pain, disappointment, sadness, loss, none of that. But those experiences are a part of our life. That's how we roll. We have to experience of polarities of positive and negative. So when you attempt to avoid or resist these emotions, you add suffering to your pain. And if you've ever heard me talk about suffering, you're going to remember that suffering, it has three components, and it feels as though their heavy emotions won't end. So suffering has to do with three things. When we feel like the problem, the pain, is permanent, it doesn't go away. It's pervasive. It hits all parts of our lives, and it's personal, meaning that there's something flawed, something wrong with us, that we out of everybody else are experiencing this pain. And we don't understand why it is that we're going through that and somebody else isn't. So that's what suffering is about, right? If you fight with what you feel to make the feeling bigger and greater and more powerful, you're right on track, right? But if you're aware of what you feel and you're aware of what's happening in your life and you saw the situation for what it was, and then you figured out your plan to use it to your advantage, your whole life changes. When you accept what is, you stop suffering. Granted, radical acceptance takes practice, but with practice, really, can't anybody do whatever it is that they want to do? So it just takes a moment to make a decision to radically accept the truth of a situation. Think about it. If you were able to remove any emotion from a situation, think about this. This is cool. These are kind of things I think about. All you'd be left with are two things: facts and a decision. There are far more people who, if they could extract the emotion, let's say you're in a relationship and you know it's not right, or it's kind of nearing the end of its course, and whether it's you don't want to hurt the other person or you don't want to go through the pain of dealing with the breakup and the withdrawal and all of that, if you could extract the emotions, you'd break up in a heartbeat. You'd say, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I love you, but it's not right. Boom, you'd move on. We'd all do that. But the hard part about life is that there are emotions involved. And the more we fight them, the bigger they get, the more pain we're in, and the more suffering we experience, right? So really, what most of us tend to do is sit in the pain, right? Most of us. I'm not saying all of us, but most of us. We roll around in it kind of like a pig rolls around in mud, and sooner than later, we kind of begin to smell like the mud we've rolled around in. And we begin to accept that we have to feel badly about a situation instead of looking at the situation more methodically and strategically. If the biggest key to radical acceptance, seriously, is this: you look at a situation for what it is, you're able to separate how you feel about the situation with the facts of the situation, and then the third part is to figure out how you're going to deal with it. So when we radically accept reality, we don't deny what we feel, we just feel it with compassion towards ourselves. That's the thing. That's what we miss a lot. You know, there's a saying, when I accept myself as I am, then I can change. If you can't accept who you are, for example, you're, you got some extra weight on your body and you want to lose weight. If you don't accept yourself for being overweight in the first place, according to you, then you can't change. What are you going to do? You're just going to keep denying it, and the jeans are going to get tighter and tighter, and before long, you're going to have to figure out how to shift your life, how to get back to the place that you wanted to be in the first place. So when you accept a situation for what it is, only then can you choose what you will feel about it and what you'll do on its behalf. When clients of mine have had a hard time dealing with their feelings, and they believe that they have no idea why they're feeling the way they feel, I always bring them to their bodies. And this is something that you could do with every emotion that you have. I ask them in particular where that particular feeling lives in their bodies, and I ask them to describe it in detail: shape, density, width, height. I ask them usually to close their eyes when they do this. So you can do this if you want to go ahead and close your eyes. If you've got a feeling that you've been struggling with that's hanging around that you want to understand and get rid of, you can do this thing. So we begin to talk to the feeling, but not as if it was an enemy. Rather, we treat its presence as a dear friend with a message for us. So we talk to it. We let it share what it needs to share with us, and then we neutralize its intensity. Because the more we fight against the feeling, the more at war we are with it. So our bodies know more about what we feel and why we feel what we feel. The trick is to ask for the positive intent of the emotion. Inside, that's your message, right? So whatever the feeling has, it actually does have a message for you. What's inside of that? You can be someone who continues to tell yourself stories about the tragedies that have befallen you, or you can be a storyteller of profound growth and transformation when you talk about your life. And how amazing would it be to be somebody who inspires others to radically accept life and find the beauty in it, in the pain and the lesson, and be able to grow from it, right? When we're in the pain, there's only one cure: to feel the pain and choose to use it to benefit your life, not allow it to contribute to future suffering. For all of us, the path of befriending our painful experiences requires great gentleness and patience, and it is a skill. It's a muscle you got to build. When we heed the signs that our emotions are giving us, our experiences and our physical bodies offer us, then we can meet any situation with confidence so that we can find the clarity we seek about the challenge that we're in. We may not understand why something happened immediately, but there's always a reason. There's always a reason. You just have to sometimes wait for it to be revealed. We can come to trust what Buddha calls our Buddha nature, the knowing that awareness and love are our true essence. And when we come back to that, then the ability to accept radically what life offers us and to problem solve is so easy. I hope you've enjoyed today this talk about radical acceptance. It truly is the gateway to your healing and spiritual transformation, and without a doubt, a sense of peace. So if you have any questions about any part of your life, I always offer readings, 30, 45, 60-minute readings, love, money, health, business, anything. My Spirit Guide team is pretty awesome, and we're able to connect with yours, give you some really specific information. And also, if you feel like investing your time and really shifting and changing your life, of course, I work with people all over the world doing therapy and intuitive therapy, and it'd be my pleasure to help you. So with either one of those, give me a call, 404-558-3971, or email me, Janis@janisrcohen.com. Have a wonderful day, a blessed week, and as always, live intuitively.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist with Janis R. Cohen. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend and subscribe, rate, and review at iTunes.